Welcome to the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I am Amber Romaniuk, emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert. I am also the founder of amberapproved.ca. I support professional women achieve optimal health through mindful eating, self-care, and overcoming self-sabotage with food. This podcast provides the honest truth on what you really need to create body freedom. The No Sugarcoating Podcast provides information on healthy living, lifestyle changes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. Always seek the advice of your healthcare practitioner regarding your health and nutrition program. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 224 of the No Sugarcoating Podcast. This week, as per a request from quite a few of my Instagram followers, actually, because every week I like to do a Instagram story and have you guys ask your health-related questions or what you want to see me or hear me talk about on the podcast. And I've had multiple people respond with questions about exercise. And so while I've talked a little bit about it in a previous episode, I wanted to revisit it again because I think that I've even just delved deeper with my relationship with movement even more, and just with working with different clients. And I wanted to just share some perspectives. So that's really what has inspired today's episode. And I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So this week I'm talking about signs that you are over-exercising, exercising conflicting information, and how the gym made me gain weight, because I do want to explain the impact that unhealthy movement had on me, and what I did to change it and what my routine is like now. And my goal and hope is that it's just going to help you or inspire you to maybe look at your routine and see if it's something that you're enjoying, or if you're wanting to make some changes, or if this prompts you to go, you know what, maybe I'm having struggles with, my relationship with movement and it's spawning from other things like body image or whatever else you may hear me talk about today. And that may prompt you to want to reach out. So I definitely look forward to sharing this episode with you guys. So a couple key announcements before I get started. So the show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/224. Be sure to subscribe to the No Sugarcoating Podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can also click through to the link in the show notes to subscribe as well. Of course, episodes come out every Sunday, and I just love, having that fresh new perspective come out before the weekend's over. So we're in mid-February now, I guess, toward the second half of the month. And I know for a lot of people, this tends to be the time where the New Year's resolutions can start to go out the window. All these good intentions you had and excitement you had about your health being your focus this year may start to fall to the wayside, and you making yourself a priority may not be actually happening, although that's what you intended when 2020 started. So do you feel like you failed with your New Year's health resolutions? Do you feel like you set too big of goals and you're failing with them? Do you feel like you're, as I talked about last week, that you're really an overachieving mindset and you're really unhappy when you don't fully deliver for yourself, whether it's your health, your well-being, your work, your family? But again, as the hype goes away from the quote unquote new year and we get into, spring, I really find that we can feel lost dealing with ourselves and our struggles, whether it's emotional eating, body image, weight, low energy, hormone issues, digestive issues, emotional eating. And let's face it, if we've been dealing with this hype of New Year's resolutions every year and then we fall off and then we go, I'll just start next year, that is a vicious cycle that takes time to deal with and takes time to go away, because we're dealing with habits and patterns that you've probably had for a long time. You're probably also, if you've been listening to this podcast, hearing that, diets and quick fixes and restriction and rigid meal plans and the eating less and burning more calories actually isn't helping you get where you want to go, which can make you feel super frustrated. So if you're resonating with what I share, of course, as you've been hearing me say, I am having a beautiful self-love sale for my 1 year and 6 month coaching programs through the month of February. So if this is resonating with you, if you're wanting to further connect and book a 30-minute body freedom call, do so to secure your savings. And for me, this is really about being able to connect with you and truly, just heart to heart, have a conversation and talk to you about your goals and your struggles and where you're seeking support. And if it feels like it's a fit and it feels like it resonates and we work together, great. If not, that's okay. But you always take something away regardless of what ends up happening. So definitely make sure you either can click the link in the show notes to book your 30-minute body freedom call. That will be there. Otherwise, you can email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line February coaching sale, and we will book you in and take the steps from there. So I definitely look forward to you reaching out and connecting with you. And of course, last but not least, make sure that you enter. This is the last week to enter the worldwide giveaway for the spa, the $150 gift card for the spa. So I will share more details on that at the end of today. So if you are finding a specific eating style isn't working for you, you're confused with your workout routine, you're struggling with emotional eating, food addiction, digestive issues, inflammation, you suspect your hormones are off, but you have no idea how to deal with that, self-care continues to be a struggle, perfectionist all or nothing mindsets continue to keep you stuck with your health, and you continue to just be at the bottom of your priority list, well, you are in the right place, my friends, because these are all of the different topics that I will continue to talk about, diving into the habits and mindsets to help set you on a different path. Amber Approved offers private coaching for hormonal imbalances, weight loss and digestive issues, emotional eating, and more. Contact Amber at amberapproved.ca to book your 30-minute complimentary consultation today. So this first point, signs you're over-exercising, I want to explore this a little bit because I'm going to talk about some signs, but I also want to talk about, why we're moving the way that we are. I think there's a huge difference between mindful movement and mindless movement, just like mindful eating and mindless eating. And so I think, I want you to make sure you have a piece of paper because I'm going to ask different questions and I would love for you to reflect upon these questions. It's just going to help give you more insight into where you're at with your movement routine, exercise, body image, all that stuff. And you could journal on these afterward, pause the podcast and answer them like whatever flow you want to get into. But you being able to answer these questions helps give you more awareness. And if something isn't working, it also allows you to change it, which that is so powerful when we can take action. So I think it's first of all important that we start to address why are we moving or exercising? What is the driving force behind your movement? Which is a great question to ask yourself. Because for a lot of people, I'll go through some of the more common drives, but it's so important to address the driving forces behind our movement. And what I mean by, the forces that are driving your movement is like, what is motivating your exercise routine? Do you go to the gym and do movement because you need to lose weight and that's your primary focus and you need to burn calories because you need to look a certain way? Or do you move because it makes you feel good? It gives you energy. You feel strong. You feel like you're just going to rock your day afterward. It gives you more, mental clarity and it boosts your mood and you just feel happier and you really love the kind of movement you're doing and you look forward to it. And it just feels like a very powerful part of your week. I really think it's so important that we exercise because we love the way it makes us feel. So another question is, do you exercise because you love it or do you exercise because you feel like you have to do it? Big difference between the two. Another question is, do you exercise because you're trying to get your external body to look a certain way? And until you get there, you feel like you won't be enough. Because this is a big one for a lot of people, especially a lot of the women that come to work with me. And this used to be me as well. I really exercised because I wanted to burn calories and lose weight and have my body physically look a certain way so that I could feel good enough. And I never achieved that. And obviously it was because there was a void there, a lack of self-love. And I was trying to fill it with diets and exercise, but it never worked. So I think it's important to address, the motivator behind our movement. Do you exercise because you are constantly binging, overeating, or emotionally eating or making poor food choices and you use exercise as a way, to hopefully compensate and burn excess calories and hopefully that'll prevent, gaining weight. So you're essentially using exercise as a means of burning calories so that you don't gain weight. So are you essentially using exercise to restrict, to burn calories because you fear gaining weight? That's a fear of losing control with your body, essentially. So I want to talk a little bit about mindless movement and mindful movement because it's just coming up for me and I think it's important to address. So just like with food, mindful movement would be, again, doing it because you love it. It makes you feel really good. You're not necessarily really in it for the weight loss and the external shift in your body and your weight, you go and do it because you love it. It makes you feel good. But you also know that mindful balance, which is you don't need to do it every day. If you've had a poor sleep or you're not feeling well, or there's just something that's off, you actually honor your body and you rest, or you do something more gentle because you don't want to overdo it. Versus I find like mindless movement is like fear-based. I have to go and do this because I've messed up my diet and I don't want to gain weight and I need to lose weight. So I'm going to go and burn as many calories as I can. I want to look a certain way. There can be anger and frustration driving the movement because, again, if you keep quote unquote falling off your diet, it can feel really frustrating. I also really believe that mindless movement, we're being really hard on ourselves. You're probably being really negative. You need to push yourself harder. You need to go harder. You're not doing it enough. I was to the point essentially where I'd go to the gym, and if there was a certain machine being used that I needed to use for my workout, I get so angry and I'd be like, well, that's messed up my workout. There was really no point in even coming now because I just wanted it to be perfect in a certain way, or I thought I wouldn't get the same results. Like that's how all or nothing perfectionist mindset I was with exercise. And, I was to the point where I was going 6-7 days a week, 2 hours a day at one point. And it became like this obsession, and I wasn't doing it because I loved it. I was doing it because I thought I had to, and I was getting some short-term results and thought, okay, yeah, if I want to like have this rockin' body, I've got to work out 7 days a week, 2 hours a day, which is not realistic or healthy at all, in my opinion. It's different if you're a professional athlete and you have a certain level of, strength and things to keep up. And, depending on what your sport is, like that's totally understandable in a different way. And hopefully, ideally, you have ways that you're recovering and treating your body well and doing good things for your body to compensate for, pushing your body really hard. But for the majority of the population, I think a lot of people just have a disconnected relationship with exercise, or an unhealthy relationship with exercise, where there's still this drive because I need to do it because I need to be healthier and I need to lose weight. And whilst exercise can support health, it can also have a negative impact on it. And I'm going to talk more about that soon. So that's kind of the difference, though, between mindless movement and mindful movement. Oh, and mindless movement, even if you don't feel good, you sleep poorly, you'll still push yourself to go to the gym because you're like, I can't miss a day. I just can't miss a day. I wouldn't be good enough. Or like there'd be some, you would judge yourself if you missed a day, or it'd feel very uncomfortable for you. Like you're not willing to give yourself the break to rest, to relax, which is so, so, so important for us to take that time to relax. So just kind of some of the differences. So you may want to write down mindful and mindless and see if any of that comes up for you on either side. So I want to dissect a little bit, weight focused emotional eating and body image and how they can drive over exercising or an unhealthy relationship with exercise. I just want to kind of dissect each of these a little bit just so you can understand, what I was talking about earlier, the driving force. So a lot of people do exercise because they want to lose weight, and they're told, if you exercise, you will burn calories and it will help you lose weight. So yeah, that's definitely valid. But what's so fascinating is I see so many women who are coming to me going, I'm eating while I'm exercising, but I can't lose the weight. So I think that's sometimes where we have to assume that just because I exercise a certain amount doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to lose weight, depending on where your hormones, your digestion, your inflammation, your relationship with food, your sleep, your hydration, stress levels. Like there's so many other things that do need to be in some state of alignment to have the exercise help aid in weight loss. But I don't think we should just focus on doing exercise to lose weight, because if you're not happy or passionate about the exercise, if you don't love what you're doing, you won't commit to doing it consistently, and you'll probably dread doing it, and it'll probably be more stressful for you to try to talk yourself into doing it than picking something you love, and that stress will just add up anyway and not have a positive impact on your hormones. A lot of people assume that if they're, thin or a certain weight, it will equal optimal health. And whilst I think that everyone kind of has a natural set point of a few pounds of what is probably ideal for their body, I don't think weight loss equals health, or that like you need to be a certain weight to be healthy. I think it's one piece of the puzzle and one piece of information. By all means, I do think there's certain reasons why we should work toward weight loss, but I don't like to focus on that. Let's focus on getting you healthy, and health doesn't equal weight loss. I really believe that health equals being kind to your body and overcoming self-sabotaging behaviors with food, like emotional eating. Health means positive self-talk and learning how to love and accept your body. Health means balanced hormones. Health means balanced digestion. Health means getting rid of your food sensitivities. Health means chewing your food properly and mindfully eating at the table. Health means getting enough sleep. Health means drinking enough water. Health means you have really good energy and your cravings are gone. Health means your cycle is consistent, or you have, minimal PMS or menopause symptoms. Health means you can easily get pregnant and have a healthy pregnancy. Health means your mindset and your emotions, and that you have healthy ways to cope with stress. Health means a balanced schedule. Health means nourishing your body with a lot of really great whole foods. And it also means being able to mindfully indulge and then move on and not be hard on yourself. Health means laughter. Health means joy. Health also means balance and knowing you're going to have days where you feel freaking amazing and everything's awesome. And you're going to have days where you're overwhelmed or stressed or angry or something made you sad. And that it's us being willing to honor both sides and not judge if you're having a quote unquote bad day or you're stressed, and that you can use your tools and what you have and what you know to help you cope in healthy ways with stress. Like, to me, all of that and more equates to health, rather than just like, well, in order to be healthy, you have to be a certain weight. It's like, no, that is so archaic. It's like, it's one piece of the puzzle, and we need a lot of other pieces to be in alignment to have successful weight loss. So for all of these people who keep just like pushing themselves in the gym and they're not getting the results, well, to me, often there's just so many other potential things that may be going on. And that's something that I really work on with my clients, is getting to the root causes of what is going on and what is in the way of you reaching optimal health and getting balanced energy and getting the inflammation out. And for some of them, it is that their movement routine is way too intense, and that we just slowly, bit by bit, change it, and they actually choose to do things they love, and it changes everything. So another drive is emotional eating compensation. So I talked about this a bit earlier, right? You've overeaten, you've eaten quote unquote a lot of calories. So now I need to go to the gym and compensate and burn all that off because I don't want to gain weight, and I need to, I need to fix what I did. So for some women, after they binge or emotionally eat, they will exercise to compensate. For some women, they will emotionally eat or binge, and then they will purge. That's another form of like self-sabotage and not actually taking responsibility to deal with, what happened, the emotional eating with food. For some women, once they start emotionally eating or binging, it's just very hard to stop, and then they try to use the diet to fix it. But in this case, with the exercise, I used to do this all the time. I would binge, and then the next day would be like, well, you're going to go to the gym and you're going to have to work out for like an hour and a half, and you're doing like an extra 15 minutes of cardio. So the driving force for me was, I'm going to punish you because you didn't have the willpower to stay on the diet. You ate that whole bag of chips and that chocolate bar and whatever else. Like, you way overdid it. Like, now you're bloated. The scale's gone up a few pounds. Shame on you. You should know better. And now you need to go and fix it. So I wasn't taking ownership or responsibility for actually addressing the self-sabotage with food. I had no idea that I didn't love myself. Like, there was no awareness there. It was just like, you have no willpower. You need to fix it, get your butt to the gym, and you're going to like really only eat clean today and like, really restrict yourself. Like, so I find a lot of people actually use exercise as a form of punishment, right? Oh, look at you. You don't look good in that outfit. Oh, those pants fit tighter. Oh, you overate, or oh, you had that extra drink. And so what is then the response? Well, the response is actually a reaction, which is like, oh my God, I've got to fix it. I've got to get into the gym. I've got to burn the calories. I've got to, lose the weight so this fits better, or so that I, can fit into my bikini for my vacation. Like, I hear so many people right now, it's like vacation season, summer's coming. I got to get that beach body. I've got to get in the gym, hit the gym hard, and just like eat super clean. And it's like, how is that working for you essentially? Because I find like if 85 to 90% of the female population hates their bodies and has some form of, emotional eating, binge eating, eating disorder, body image dysmorphia issues, body image struggles, is that, I got to go hard in the gym and eat clean mentality like really actually working? Or is it one of the things that's keeping people stuck? Because I really think it's keeping people stuck, and we need to address what's at the root cause. And in this case, it would be the emotional eating, the lack of self-love, the body image issues, taking the focus off of the weight obsession and the weighing in, because a lot of these programs, you're weighing in every day or every week. Well, what a horrible thing to have to do every day or every week to like weigh in, and they say, oh, it makes you accountable, or, oh yeah, like it'll scare you into like being good with food. But we don't want to scare anyone into doing anything to motivate them, because that's not going to long-term last. So I know I'm getting a little off topic, but I think this is important that we actually get to the root cause and address it. So if it's weight obsession, emotional eating, like I wanted a flat stomach so bad. I obsessed over it from such a young age. And then I would binge and then punish myself in the gym. And then I'd punish myself with food. Like I loved it and I hated it at the same time, but I just didn't know how to stop. But it came from this space of negativity and insecurity and self-hate, and I just disliked my body. But because I wanted a flat stomach so bad, and I was so obsessed with the external because of what I saw in magazines and what I saw on TV, we didn't have social media that much back then yet. But it was like all these other pieces, and I wasn't exercising for my mental, physical, or emotional health. I was exercising for my looks. And I really think that a lot of people still do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being fit or strong or like, having muscles. I'm all for those things. But I just think that what is concerning is when, we think we have to look a certain way and have a six pack and like all these things. And then your cycle's disappearing and you're exhausted and you fear gaining weight and you're restricting with food and then you're binging, and like, those are not healthy relationships with your body, food, or exercise. So I think it's just so important to address that. The other part of this was, a lot of people use exercise to try to fill a void because they are insecure. And so they think if I look a certain way, I'll be confident. And maybe there's, some short-term confidence, but it usually goes away because we can't attain the routine or sustain it, and or as soon as you start gaining weight, you start hating on your body, which again, we need to address the root cause of that. And so the body image and the weight and the emotional eating kind of all go together. Often if people don't like the way they look, they will think they have to diet and exercise to lose weight, to look at their body and be happy with it instead of building the acceptance. I think it's so important to work on that. That doesn't mean you can't lose weight, but it's important that we learn to accept ourselves now rather than vanity and go, well, I'll love myself once I'm thin. Because it's like, A, what if you never get there? B, what if you're not meant to be like a size 0, 2, or whatever? And C, often, we'll keep driving a vicious cycle of self-sabotage with food, exercise, whatever it is, until we address the lack of self-love, which is a root cause. So the more we get to the roots, as you hear me say, the more freedom you will create with your body and with food and exercise. So another question, my friends, how many days a week are you exercising? 0, 1, 2, 5, 7 every day. Some people think they need to work out 7 days a week. I mean, it's different if it's like, okay, I'm going to stretch a couple days a week and then I'm going to do gentle yoga or yoga, and then maybe I go to the gym a couple days a week. Like that's different because to me, you're getting rest days with the stretching. But if you're full out 7 days a week, I personally think this is too much. Like, why aren't you willing to give yourself at least 1 rest day or 2 rest days? I think this is a huge sign of overexercising, because often people fear taking a break because they don't think they're worthy of taking time off. They fear they're going to lose results, fear they're not going to be as strong, or that you're not reaching your goals quickly enough. So it's like, you got to just keep go, push. Perfectionism will also push that 7-day-a-week thing. Because it's like, well, if I don't go 7 days a week, what's the point in going at all? And that's that all or nothing mindset. But that still comes down to lack of self-love, insecurity, not feeling good enough. All of this comes from these mindsets, these emotions, the way we really feel about ourselves. And that's what is so important to start to understand, is if we're not happy with who we are, we get into these vicious cycles, versus if we're really happy and confident and loving with who we are, we often avoid this stuff because we know it's a lot of suffering and it's very draining and exhausting. And when you love yourself, you don't want to punish yourself, because there's this deep respect there, and everyone deserves to have that and build that. This is so important. So I'm going to say it, and I really hope that it resonates for you, or that it helps you plant a seed. Your body, like your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual body, needs time to rest and recover. She or he is not a machine. So are you willing to stop treating your body like it's a machine? We're these beautiful, vulnerable, amazing, strong, like there's so many layers of the human body on all levels. We're intricate. We're complex. That's the word I was trying to think of. So are you willing to stop treating your body like a robot and actually learn how to listen to your body so you know what to give your unique self? I just think that's such an important question to ask yourself. And if you're not willing to stop treating your body like a machine, then there's got to be stuff going on for you. And I'd be really curious to hear what it is, because you will exhaust yourself eventually if you're not already. So you may also go to the gym multiple times per day. I used to do this a long time ago when I was fighting with my body, and I thought it was so hardcore. And I only did this again because I hoped I would burn more calories and lose weight more quickly, and it made me really exhausted. So I would not suggest that. Another sign of overexercising is that you pick yourself and your body apart if you can't do an exercise, or you're in negative self-talk that you need to keep pushing yourself harder, you need to do more, your sessions need to be longer, you need to burn more calories, you need to lift more weight. It's almost like there's this angry drill sergeant in your head that just won't go away no matter how hard you push yourself. It's like, oh, you could have done a little more, you could have done more. And I'm all about motivation, but I also really believe, especially if there's hormone imbalances and your energy is low and there's certain health concerns that are there, that pushing ourselves in the gym or in your movement is not right now, not a good idea. Maybe once things go back into balance, you can experiment a bit more with it and tune in and see how you feel. But I just think it's so important that we stop pushing when there's significant hormone issues, low energy, and other, things that I'm going to address right away. It's just so important. Otherwise, those things get worse and you get more tired and your hormones get worse. And then you get more frustrated with your body because your body's not working the way that you want it to. And we don't want that to happen. Another sign of overexercise can be that you get into this habit or routine where you do good for a while, but then you fall way off track, and then it takes you a while to get back into the routine, and you get really hard on yourself about it versus being forgiving and going, something came up, I didn't go as consistently, it's all good. I stretched, I got out for a walk, versus being like, oh, you're weak, you're stupid, you're lazy, you didn't get to the gym every day or like 5 days a week, like there's something wrong with you. Like that's negative self-talk, and that's a sign of that kind of over-exercising mentality and that drill sergeant. And almost like you need to have a motivator to keep up your routine. Like, oh, if you don't lose 10 pounds by X date, you're not allowed to do this. Or, I used to need to have motivators to keep up my workout routine, and they still didn't motivate me enough. And that's just another sign that I think that we're in misalignment with our workouts or our exercise. Another sign of over-exercising is that you're exhausted, you're tired, you're having trouble sleeping, falling asleep, and you're waking in the night. Another sign is you have significant hormone imbalances, especially high cortisol or low cortisol. That's a huge sign of that you're overdoing it, or that their stress is really high. Another sign could be that you're gaining weight. And this is all tied to the energy, the sleep, and the hormones as well. Also, if you have a fear of stopping exercise or slowing down your routine or changing it, and you're very stuck and rigid in that you have to do it a certain way to get your results, that's also can be a sign of, over-exercising. So another question is, do you have a fear or a resistance that, if you slow down, you won't get your results? I think that's important to address, because what we have to address is, if you do have other health issues going on, is the exercise actually making it worse? Because it can. And I'm going to talk more about that because it impacted me a lot for a while when I was going too hard. And this is another big one. If you are only using exercise as a self-sabotaging behavior to either lose weight fast, correct overeating or emotionally eating, or again, to only focus on looking a certain way, that it's external because you really don't love yourself, you're not happy with your body, I really would encourage you to get further support, because it's not a healthy relationship with your body, with food, or with exercise to just continue down that rabbit hole. And it honestly probably will exhaust you if it hasn't already. The No Sugarcoating podcast is proud to partner with Blue Spruce Decaf Coffee Company, North America's only 100% chemical-free certified organic decaf coffee company. They were born to give decaf coffee drinkers the option to have a variety of high-quality coffee to choose from, so stop drinking decaf loaded with chemicals. All of their coffee is certified organic, 100% chemical-free, Swiss water decaffeinated, and best of all, tastes and smells amazing. You can find them at bluesprucedecaf.com or well.ca if you are shopping from Canada, and make sure you use promo code AMBER in all capital letters to receive 15% off of your entire order. So this brings me to my second point, which is exercise and conflicting information. So often people are told you need to get healthier, so go exercise, do more cardio, get your heart rate up. And while for some people this is exactly what they need, again, in a mindful amount, you may actually need other things. It's really based on your current state of health. And this is what like the fitness industry largely, unless, your trainer, your personal trainer is super aware of hormones and emotional eating and like really sensitive to body image. Like a lot of them do not understand any of this. And it's just because they're not taught and they think it is just about burning calories and going hard. But for a lot of people, that's not what they need. They actually need something, much different. And it really, I do believe that our exercise or our movement should be catered to our current state of health. So do you do movement based on knowing your current state of health, which is like your hormone health, your energy levels, your digestive health, your relationship with your body and food? Or are you just doing it because your friend is doing it, so you jumped on the bandwagon, or, you read about it, or some influencers doing this exercise, or you're like, oh, I want to do, Britney Spears' workout, or I want to do this person's workout because I want their body. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. So I think it's important for us to do what is best suited for us. Well, how do we figure that out? Well, it's so important to address if you have hormone imbalances, especially cortisol issues or thyroid imbalances, if you have gut issues, because the more stress you add to the body, the more you throw the hormones off, the more your digestive system gets stressed out, and then you get more bloated and you're more inflamed and you become sensitive to more foods, and that can actually make you retain more water, and that can make you feel like you're gaining weight, and that can make you frustrated if you're exercising and you're not losing it. If you're emotionally eating, we have to actually address that and focus on that. If you're struggling with your body image, if you're struggling with your weight, even though you're exercising, we have to then further dissect, why are you struggling to lose weight? Why does your body want to hang on to protection? Why doesn't your body feel safe? And there can be many reasons for that, including emotional eating, gut and hormone imbalances, poor sleep, high stress, overbooked schedules, negative self-talk, dehydration, eating poor quality foods all the time. High inflammatory markers and high cortisol can make your body hang on to protection and have the exercise, have a negative impact on you if you're doing really intense exercise. I also think if you feel more tired after your movement, that is just a prominent sign that your body is probably not liking what you're doing. And that doesn't mean that you can't correct these things and then go back to certain movement, but often the motivation changes for the movement because you change internally your mindset and your physical state of health, and then you want to do different things that feel better for you. Another thing is that, if you keep gaining weight, if you feel like you've tried everything and nothing is working, to me, that's a huge sign that we need to address all these other things that I've just mentioned with the, emotional eating and hormones and digestion and sleep and schedules, etc. Because you shouldn't be gaining weight if you're physically and emotionally in a good state of health. If all these other things are in alignment, is just, ideally should not be happening. So we have to investigate that because we want to get those blocks out of the way. Another drive is the perfectionism or all or nothing mindset, because I really believe that a lot of people, again, are driven to do their movement based out of like fear or worry or body insecurities or, I just need to lose weight. And that then takes away the inspiration or the joy that you may experience if you actually did movement that you loved. But a lot of people are focused on intense exercise and cardio because they think that's what they need to do to burn a lot of calories, but that may not be what your body needs or what your body wants. In fact, oftentimes, from the majority of my clients, like 95% of them have cortisol imbalances, adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, and doing really intense movement actually is not ideal for them. At first, they may be a bit resistant, but then they actually get really excited that they don't have to go kill themselves in the gym anymore and overdo it, and that they can actually do a yoga class or get out for a walk outside and get fresh air instead. And they really start to actually like that and feel more connected with their bodies. But there's one thing that I want to address here, because I just think this happens so often and I wish it didn't. And so to just give you some peace of mind, if you've ever been told this, but often people are told you need to get healthier, so go exercise, do more cardio, get your heart rate up. I just mentioned this earlier. Or your doctor or another healthcare practitioner may be telling you, well, you aren't losing weight, you need to exercise more and eat less to lose the weight. I want to address this because I don't really think it's a supportive, empowering answer. I don't think burning more calories to lose weight and eating less is the answer. I think it's so archaic and it's not supportive of what each individual needs. And whilst I know every healthcare practitioner and doctor can't cater to each individual need of every person, I just think it's so important to be mindful of what you're telling people, because it can fuel an unhealthy relationship with food and exercise. It can worsen it, or it can create it if the person doesn't yet have it. But if they're convinced that that's what they need to do and they can't do it, they try over and over and they can't do it, it can make them feel like they're never going to be able to achieve it. They're not good enough. It can make them lose hope when, again, there's so many other things to investigate other than just eating less and exercising more. I don't believe in that. And often for most people, the irony is it's the opposite. We need you to eat more and exercise less. And that's like eat more good foods, eat more fats, healthy carbs, proteins, and exercise less so that we can get your hormones balanced. It's kind of ironic that it's more so the opposite that I see with people that I work with. So I wanted to address some of these because I just think it's so important, because there's so much conflicting information out there. So I think it's so important for you to stop jumping on bandwagons of, other things you're seeing people doing unless you feel really connected to it and that it feels really good and empowering. But just because you see someone on Instagram with like the perfect body doing a certain workout doesn't mean that that's actually what you need, especially if you don't know your current state of health. So I just think it's so important that we understand where and what is driving our, motivation, whether it's fear, panic, worry versus trust, alignment, happiness, movement that feels good for you, good for your body. And you do it because you love it and it makes you feel good and you're happy, not because you feel like you need to force yourself. Like very different things there that I cannot express enough. So I think it's so important for you to understand what feels good for your body. If you're doing something and it's just making you more tired, maybe you want to take a break, switch it up and try something else. Do something more gentle. Make sure you take days off. I actually think people fare best when they're only doing mindful movement like 3 days a week or 4 days a week, or maybe it's like you strength train 2 days a week and then you go for a walk. But again, it really is dependent on your hormones and your stress levels, because even 2 days a week in the gym can be too much if your hormones are really out of whack. And that leads me to my last point, which is how the gym made me gain weight. Because I essentially went through an experience about 8 years ago where I was in recovery from my food addiction. I was no longer binge eating, but obviously I had very significant hormone imbalances, cravings, was bloated. My digestion was just a complete nightmare. It was so bad. I was so sensitive to everything. My stress was really high. My schedule was overbooked. And I really had this limiting belief that was, I need to exercise to maintain weight or to lose weight. And the irony of what was happening is my cortisol was about, 5 or 6 times higher than it was supposed to be. My thyroid was underactive. My estrogen was 10 times higher than it was supposed to be. And my progesterone was really low. And so what was happening is I was exercising, and I actually had a personal trainer at the time. I was trying to explain my hormone issues to him so that he could cater my program, but he just didn't get it. And whatever, it's fine now. But so I was in the gym with him 3 days a week and I was gaining weight. I actually gained about 50 pounds over the course of 7, 8, 9 months. And I was at the heaviest that I was when I was at the peak of my food addiction, but I wasn't binge eating. And it was a complete shock. I was embarrassed and devastated because I'm like, I'm not binging. What the heck is going on? But my hormone imbalances were just so significant that the exercise that I was doing was completely pushing my body over the edge. And so what I really had to do was surrender and go, I'm challenging this limiting belief, because if this exercise was really beneficial, I wouldn't be exhausted all the time. I wouldn't have brain fog. I would be energized. It would feel good for me. And I think, that the scale would not keep moving up. And so I really had to understand, I don't think my body feels safe. She keeps putting on protection. Well, of course she doesn't feel safe. My hormones are extremely out of whack. I'm exhausted. I'm not sleeping well. And I continue to push my body in the gym. So I made the decision for myself to actually just quit the gym. I decided to focus on rest. I decided to actually focus on balancing my hormones and do more relaxing self-care, get out for a walk, focus on stretching, gentle yoga, deep breathing, meditation, things that were going to help to calm my nervous system down and help my hormones to regulate. And I really started to focus on that. And that really helped me fully love and accept myself too, because I'm like, I've got to just love and accept me now at this weight, because if this is where my body needs to be right now, I take full responsibility and I want to fully love and treat her with the respect she deserves. And as I did that, the protection just started to fall off. It's like I slept and napped and rested the protection off. I did not lift a finger. I did not have to go to the gym. I did not have to restrict. I ate well and I allowed myself to have some mindful indulgence on the weekends. I spoke kindly to my body. I took the pressure off. I unbooked stuff in my schedule so that I wasn't overwhelmed. And I used my tools to cope with stress, like the meditation, the breathing, the tapping, the different things that I talk about all the time. And it's that really made the difference. And my hormones started to balance and regulate a lot more quickly than they had been, because I took what was one of the big stressors out, which was the exercise. And again, my driving force was fear. I fear I'm going to lose control with my body and gain weight, and I need to exercise to lose weight. But the opposite was happening. So it really helped me completely blow up that limiting mindset and come into like, no, I need to tune in and understand that my thoughts and the way I treat my body and, my hormones, like that's all playing the role here, that it's not just as simple as eat less and exercise more. And it was a great learning for me. And I'm so glad I went through that because it's really helped me to be able to help my clients now as well. So again, I really think it's so important to do movement we love. Like as an example now, I don't move to be a certain weight or anything. I move to actually support my lymphatic system because it was quite sluggish last year this time. So I like to walk. I have a treadmill, but I also get outside, weather permitting. I love to rebound. I have a little trampoline and I bounce on it, 2 or 3 days a week more if I feel like it. Otherwise I don't for like 5-10 minutes. And that stimulates my lymphatic system. But the beauty is it's also great for my legs and my butt. And it's just fun and it feels good. And I look forward to doing those things instead of intense cardio exercise to sweat, because I don't sweat easily. I have an infrared sauna and that makes me sweat, but I'm also detoxing in a healthy way and my cortisol levels then don't go up. So I have a routine that's really suited for me that I love, that's not going to negatively impact my energy or my health. And I'm at peace with it. And if for some reason I'm having a week where I need rest, well, then I will take a break from, those aspects of my routine because I don't need to do them for fear of something happening if I don't do them. So choose what you love. So on a piece of paper, this is the last thing for today, and then I'm going to wrap up. On your piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on the left side, write, movement you love, and on the right side, write movement you dread or hate. And add on each side, what do you love, what do you hate? Because I know for me, what's on the hate side is running. No, thank you. HIIT training. No, thank you. I know some people thrive off of both of those things, but no thanks. Don't want to do those things. Same with biking on one of those stationary bikes at the gym. No, thank you. But a hike, a walk, gentle yoga, stretching, my rebounding, love those kinds of things. But again, I'm not forcing myself to do them all the time. I do what feels good, and my body tells me. She reacts with good energy. I feel rested. I feel clear. So I think that's the other piece, is we have to stop just tuning out and doing things on impulse and start to learn how to listen to our bodies, because that is really what's going to help us to, give us indications that things are either working or not working for us. So I hope that helps answer some of your questions. The show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/224. If you have questions, feedback, podcast ideas, email me at info@amberapproved.ca. Be sure to go to amberapproved.ca as well and take the emotional eating quiz and learn more about body freedom. And again, don't forget to enter the giveaway for the spa. So how do you do that? You leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app and email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the name and country you left the entry under. Or you can also share about the podcast on your Instagram stories and make sure that you tag me at Amber Romaniuk, ROMANIUK, and I will put you in for an entry as well. So I wish you all the best with that. Good luck. And I will announce the winner next week. So remember, there's no better time than the present to take action on your health. So take action now, my friends. Have a beautiful day, a great week. And I will look forward to sharing a whole new podcast episode with you guys next Sunday. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, review, and rate this podcast and share it with your friends. You can find me at amberapproved.ca and follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Amber Romaniuk. Join me next Sunday for another brand new episode and another step toward body freedom.